Hey everybody, this is Nancy, and this is a short demo of my painting My Eyes Turn Skyward. For the full demo with a list of materials and a bunch of different techniques, please check out my Patreon site, and I'll put the link to that below in the description. So this painting that we're going to be looking at here is about 35 inches tall and about 65 inches wide. And right now I'm laying in the background washes and in preparation for putting in the bird. So this goes on first. You'll see I kind of put it all over the canvas here. And obviously it's very thin. You do have to use a tarp underneath your canvas if you choose to paint this thinly. So once that's done, I did lay in the bird with some pretty thin, drier paint. And then I'm coming in and kind of refining those details on the bird. Here I'm putting in some darker areas on the wings. And from here I'll just continue to work the whole thing back and forth. I try not to work on one part just by itself. I'll go back and forth across different parts of the painting all together. But right now I'm really just modeling the bird. I don't want the bird to be in too thick of paint, and I also don't want it to be hyper modeled. I want it to be a little bit flat looking and a little more contemporary rather than traditional as far as oil paint goes. I like to paint a little bit looser with a lot less detail than, let's say, a photorealistic painter would. So that's what I'm going for here. And again, I'm just working all over the painting, adding in shadows and highlights, but just a little bit. I'm not going overboard with any of those. Most of the colors here are really in the gray part of the spectrum. And I wanted to keep it that way to give this piece a more contemporary feel and to just let it, kind of mold into whatever house it ends up in, or even if it goes into a corporate setting, it'll fit into a corporate setting as well. So the cool grays will allow it to really fit in kind of anywhere, really. And I like to do that with some of my pieces. Now here's the background. You'll see I'm putting it in the background, the second layer of the background anyway, with this. It's kind of a silicone rubber type of it's not really a palette knife, it's more of a spatula type of thing. And it just allows me to give a different texture to the background than I normally would get with a brush. So I like to have, variety of textures in my paintings and, different types of paint application. Again, this is a short demo, so I'm cutting out a lot of in-between steps here. And we're just going to show you a little bit of painting in the background piece. I'm not really being careful to preserve the edges, because to me in this piece I wanted this to be a little bit more ethereal. A lot of times if you make every edge hard, especially for animals, they sort of look like a cutout rather than an animal blending into the background. So here's the finished piece. Again, this is about 35 inches tall and 65 inches wide. It's called My Eyes Turn Skyward. And I added this little quote here in Conte crayon at the bottom. When first you have tasted flight, you will forever walk the earth with your eyes turned skyward. For there you have been, and there you will always long to return. That was a quote that was originally attributed to Leonardo da Vinci, but it was actually, we believe, coined by a filmmaker, an Italian filmmaker back in the 1950s or 60s, on behalf of Leonardo when he was doing a documentary about Leonardo. So we don't think the attribution is really to Leonardo, although we're not 100% sure on that. Here you can see just some more details of the piece. I just wanted to give you a little bit more in-depth look at different aspects of the painting, and you can see how I don't really want to have this really be smooth in the background. I wanted it to have a little bit of texture, but not too much. And that background is a really matte finish, M-A-T-T-E, meaning it's not shiny. And that's the way that I wanted it. I didn't want that background to be very shiny like you can get with some oil paints. That's it, everybody. Thanks for joining in. I hope you join me over on my Patreon site where you'll get a bunch more full-length demos, tips and techniques, reviews of materials, and a lot more to make your painting life a lot easier and more productive. Thanks so much.